My dear friends, Good Friday is one of the most solemn days in the Christian calendar, commemorating the crucifixion and death of Jesus Christ. Observed during Holy Week, it marks the culmination of Christ's journey to the cross, an act of profound sacrifice for the redemption of humanity. The first reading, taken from the prophet Isaiah, is the fourth among poems in Isaiah referred to as the servant songs because the central character in each one is directly or indirectly denoted as the servant of the Lord. The servant is a mysterious figure whose deep affliction brings healing and restoration to others. The suffering servant passages have long been used by Christians as a prophetic lens through which to view the passion of Jesus. Historically, Isaiah's audience would have heard these words amidst despair and displacement. The servant's humiliation, rejection, and eventual vindication mirrored Israel's own struggles. Yet, in the Christian tradition, this passage took on a new depth as early believers saw in Jesus the fulfillment of this suffering servant, one who bore the pain of many and who, though innocent, was crushed for the sake of others. The imagery in Isaiah defies worldly expectations of power. The servant is not a triumphant king in the traditional sense, but one who suffers silently, absorbing violence without retaliation. This reversal, the glorification through suffering, resonates profoundly on Good Friday. The crucifixion of Jesus, an execution marked by shame and brutality, is not an end in defeat, but a mysterious act of divine redemption. The servant's suffering is not accidental, but purposeful, redemptive, and ultimately transformative. Good Friday is not merely about sorrow, but about the costly nature of love. It challenges triumphalism and invites us into a vision of strength that is revealed through vulnerability. In Jesus, Christians see a God who enters fully into human suffering, bearing it not from a distance but from within. Thus, the suffering servant of Isaiah calls the faithful to a deeper understanding of justice, mercy, and hope. A hope born not from escaping pain, but from facing it with courage and compassion. On Good Friday, this passage invites contemplation not just of Jesus' death, but of the kind of world his sacrificial love is meant to heal and restore. The second reading, taken from the letter to the Hebrews, presents Jesus as the great high priest who bridges the gap between humanity and God. These verses affirm both the divinity and the deep humanity of Christ, presenting him not as a distant figure, but as one who fully understands human weakness, having experienced suffering, temptation, and even anguish. The image of Jesus as high priest would have resonated powerfully with the original audience, likely the Jewish Christians familiar with the temple system. In the Old Testament, the high priest served as the mediator between God and the people, offering sacrifices on their behalf. But unlike earthly priests, Jesus is portrayed here as the perfect high priest without sin, yet fully empathetic, having endured the depths of human struggle. His suffering was not theoretical. It was real, intense, and deeply personal, especially seen in his prayers and cries during his earthly life, most vividly in the Garden of Gethsemane. We are invited to approach God with confidence, knowing that the throne of grace is not a place of judgment but of mercy. Through his suffering, he became the source of eternal salvation for all who follow him. Jesus is not only the sacrificial lamb, but also the priest who offers the sacrifice himself. His journey of obedience, marked by pain and surrender, models what faithful trust looks like even in the darkest moments. It reminds us that Jesus' strength lies not in avoiding suffering, but in entering it fully and redeeming it from within. The text is both comforting and challenging. It affirms that in our struggles, doubts, and pain, we are not alone. Jesus has walked that road. And yet, it also calls us to respond with the same obedience, courage, and trust in the God who brings life even out of death. The passion narrative taken from John is presented in a unique way, emphasizing Jesus' sovereignty, identity, and fulfillment of divine purpose even amid betrayal, trial, and death. Unlike the synoptic gospels, John's account is marked by a calm, controlled Jesus who faces suffering not as a victim, but as a willing participant in God's redemptive plan. From the moment Jesus steps forward to meet the soldiers in the garden, he is portrayed as fully in charge. He initiates the conversation, names himself clearly, and even protects his disciples, fulfilling his earlier promises. Jesus is not captured, he offers himself. The crucifixion in John is marked not by abandonment but by fulfillment. Jesus' final moments are filled with intentionality. He arranges care for his mother, acknowledges the completion of his mission, and gives up his spirit freely. Even in death, Jesus remains in control. John's passion account challenges readers to rethink notions of power and glory. Here, glory is found not in avoiding suffering, but in embracing it for the sake of love. Jesus' cross becomes a throne, his death a victory over the forces of sin and fear. Jesus breaks the cycle of karma, a system where every wrong must be repaid, by offering himself in our place. In the Passion, we see a radical shift. Though innocent, Jesus bears the weight of humanity's sin. There is no punishment left for us, not because justice is ignored, but because God, in love, takes it upon himself. The cross is where justice and mercy meet. This is not about an angry God demanding payment, but about a loving God choosing to suffer so that we might be free. Jesus' death ends the cycle of retribution and opens the way to grace. It transforms punishment into healing and judgment into mercy. Let this day be a reminder that we no longer live under condemnation. Instead, we are invited to live by the law of love. In a world driven by blame and vengeance, the cross calls us to forgiveness, mercy, and a life shaped by the self-giving love of Christ. He not just suffers, but transforms suffering and ultimately offers a vision of hope born through the darkest hour, a hope rooted in his unwavering love. May God bless us all.